This is going to be my thoughts on AEW Forbidden Door 2025. Not a in-depth proper review necessarily. This is just me going through each match and giving my thoughts on the whole thing and everything. Beginning off with the buy-in. The buy-in itself, as fans were still making their way into the O2 Arena, had 4 matches on the card, and they were all multi-person matches, to no surprise. In that mentality of we want to try and get as many people on the card, clearly, and also the whole the water's still cold, but we need people to get in the pool and that to get them warmed up, ready for the main show. For my choice though, the Trios Championship match between the Ops and Bullet Club War Dogs was my favourite because it gave everyone what they wanted to see, which was the Ops, including Samoa Joe doing his thing, including the walkway spot. You got also Will Hobbs doing meat stuff, which the fans loved, chanting along. And Shibata as well was always is great. So yeah, that's my choice for the best match on the buy-in, which lasted about an hour. The main show itself started off with probably the best choice, which was Kip Sabian and Killswitch in replacement of Nick Wayne as he's injured, facing off against Christian Cage, and I will never call him Cope. He is Edge to me and always will be. Perfect choice to kick off the show, get the crowd at their most excited with Alter Bridges, Metalingus playing, which popped me personally because I am a big fan of Alter Bridge and I love Metalingus. So that was fun. The match itself was alright, standard sort of match, not much to anything standing out wise, but it was clearly you had Edge get worked over and do the brunt of the work for the most part between Kip and Killswitch, build into the inevitable hot tag from Christian, and obviously then coming face to face with Killswitch, obviously paying off from last year and everything. So that was really fun. The crowd loved this match. Obviously several chants throughout the night. This was one of them, like the whole Bailey song, but replacing Bailey with Christian, Won't You Be My Dad. That was great. Great fun, great vibes. And Christian and Edge got the win after a really good looking elevated assist spear. So yeah, your winners of the first match was Christian and Edge. Following the tag match, we got the TNT title match of Kyle Fletcher versus Hiromu Takahashi. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If I butcher any of the Japanese names, I do apologise. The match itself was very good, and I'll say very good, it was incredible. It never felt to me that Takahashi could have dethroned Kyle, but they really did make you believe at certain points that there was going to be a title change. Really got some close calls, but overall the match was really good, giving Takahashi, this legend from New Japan, multiple times to shine in front of this British audience who most probably many have not seen him before. I can definitely say I've never seen him before. This was the first time and it was great, but not to be overshadowed by Kyle Fletcher, who's clearly been built up as one of the next top guys in AEW, and this is his rise up the card with a real solid title reign. So yeah, very great match, and of course Kyle Fletcher retained the TNT title. Following that, we had the fatal four-way for the TBS Championship of Mercedes Moné, Alex Windsor, Bozilla and Persephone. Now, I will be honest, after last year at being at All In at Wembley, I sat through the whole show. I didn't leave my seat once. I didn't go to the toilet. I didn't go and get any drink and that. Coming out of the show though, I will admit there was one match I was like, I could have just gone because it was quite cack. And that was the Monet Baker match, which for me felt like you could have just cut it from the card. It was a waste of time and it went way too long for my personal opinion. So when I saw up on the screen over here that it was going to be Mercedes next, I did kind of think, well, I'm going to use this opportunity as a chance to go and get a drink and just see if I need to stretch my legs, which are obviously very early in the show, but I was not fazed by this match. So I did miss obviously the entrances and the beginning chunk of the match. But when I did come back, I will admit that Alex Windsor, obviously being from England, not London necessarily, but from England, obviously being a fan favourite, was really good in this match. She's really getting a chance to shine since she's been on TV, and she's definitely going to be a future champion, if that be in TBS or world champion. Also, Persephone and Bozilla were both really impressive. Obviously never seen them wrestle before, so that was a great chance to see them from what I did. But overall, the match was fine. That was what I saw. Alex Windsor was the standout for me, and to no surprise, Mercedes won and retained the TBS Championship. Following that is my personal favourite match of the night. I think this was amazing. I loved this match. The whole arena thought it was great. It was the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match of Zack Sabre Jr. versus Nigel McGuinness. Both being Brits, obviously London boy Nigel and Kent boy Zack. This was phenomenal. Obviously, both being technical masters of the wrestling art, and it was just incredible to see these two going at it. And obviously, where I was sitting on behind the entrance, so I didn't see anyone come out for their entrance. But I still had a perfect view of the ring and still being able to see everything these two were doing smoothly, from transitioning locks and all of that. It just was smooth as anything, and it was amazing. And it was great because it was very 50-50. Obviously, mostly everyone was cheering for Nigel, obviously being from London, but obviously Zack being British as well, and only from Kent. He was still getting cheered and that, so it was very conflicting for the crowd, but it was a great time and that. And the ending of the multiple roll-up, reversal, pin attempts leading to the actual match being finished was a very smooth way to end the match. For me, it could have gone another 10 minutes. Honestly, these two could have gone for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I would have been fine. I would love watching these two wrestle. But that does lead to my one little negative about the match. This isn't about the actual match itself. The match itself is unbelievable. Like I said, my favourite on the whole card. My problem with it though is the Daniel Garcia element. Now, obviously, going into the show, obviously I've been watching Collision, I've been watching Dynamite. When Nigel won the match to become number one contender for Zack. It did seem like Daniel, who was also in the match, was quite pissed and was like getting very angry. So when Nigel asked him to be in his corner for this match, to me that really was like, oh, he's going to turn heel. He'll turn heel. But then it was like, I thought, well, maybe not. Maybe this is just an ongoing thing. But as they were making their entrance and I saw that Daniel had the towel, I was like, no, this is definitely happening here. He's going to turn here. It'll be a great way to get some crowd heat, because obviously Nigel being the local boy, and that it's going to get the boos it needs. And obviously playing off the Cody MJF finish that they did years ago with the towel, and then the heel turn with MJF. So yeah, it was more surprising when the match finished that Danny looked like he was going to turn heel, only to hug Nigel, and it seemed like they were going to do something, but they had to kind of rush out so Tony Schiavone could announce the attendance figure. It really gave vibes that maybe they had to push it off, or some due to time constraint. It really felt like this was where it was leading to at the pay-per-view. Obviously they're probably going to do it later on, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that's my one negative about the match, and it's not really the match itself, it's more afterwards. But besides that, fantastic match. Afterwards, we had the AEW World Tag Team Championship three-way, Brodido versus the Hurt Syndicate versus FTR. Now, after seeing how great the Nigel match was, I thought this was going to be the low point of the show. It was going to be that match that everyone, the whole crowd, kind of collectively goes, all right, I'm going to use this as my toilet, get food, drink, break match. How I was wrong. This match really tried to keep everyone's attention straight away, obviously with the whole match starting off with brawl around the ringside and then starting off, and thought, okay, once that's done, it's going to slow down, it'll be a slow pace match. No, they kept up the pace a lot, and it was a really good match. Obviously the Hurt Syndicate dominated most of the match, working over Bandido, who is incredible to see in person. I thought it was amazing. Personally, I loved the fact that FTR were very great heels that were biding their time. Anytime that somebody tried tagging them in, they jumped off, did some warm-ups. They were biding their time for crowd heat. And then obviously we got the inevitable Brody King and Bobby Lashley stare-off, which got a great reaction and all that. So, it being a three-way, it was obvious that the Hurt Syndicate were going to lose because they didn't need to be pinned, which doesn't help the rumour that's going around that they don't want to put anyone over, because they got taken out by Ricochet in the GOH. And basically they got taken out, which left FTR and Brodido to have a carry on where they left off during their final of the tournament. But this is where the match sadly fell apart. The ending was botched. It was a bit of a mistimed match, and they had to kind of scramble around to recover, which was a disappointment. And it was an obvious botch. Obviously, this is live entertainment. There's not much you can do, and that. But the rest of the match was really good. It was just that it was a shame that this end happened. But we do have a new AEW World Tag Team Champions in Brodido, which was a surprise to me because I really thought FTR was going to capture the belts for the third time, leading to their inevitable match against Edge and Christian. So yes, Brodido is your new tag team champions. Up next was the match, I shall say, that once it got announced I was like, no, I have to be at the show. I had to be there to see this in person, and that is Kazuchika Okada versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW Unified Championship. Obviously, two of the best in the company. I personally will say Swerve is my favourite in AEW, and this might be a hot take, but I feel like he has modern day Stone Cold vibes. He feels like that guy that's really not should be a babyface, but he's such a cool guy and a cool heel that it doesn't matter, and the crowd just loves him for that. So I really like Swerve. I love Okada. Of course, I wanted to see this match, and this match didn't disappoint. It was incredible. Even with Swerve's bad knee that he's gone to have surgery for, it didn't slow him down. It was barely an inconvenience for him. You wouldn't be able to know that he was needing surgery on it, because he really brought his A game and didn't disappoint at all. Obviously Okada was incredible, and surprisingly he brought his A game. He didn't bring only 2-star, 3-star Okada. This was full on 5-star Okada. He put all his effort into this match, and it was great. The crowd loved it and everything, and it was probably inevitable that Okada was going to retain, because obviously Swerve is going off for surgery. So yeah, Okada won, still continuing his reign as Unified Champion. But that wasn't the end of the match. The match ended. It was afterwards, though, that Okada decided to Pillmanize and attack Swerve's leg with a chair, taking him out, writing him off TV so he can go and get surgery, obviously. This, obviously, was great, but with then Nana coming back down with a lead pipe to save Swerve, to fend him off, which led to the return of Wardlow. Wardlow came out from the crowd, came in the ring, and, no other word to put it, murdered Nana in front of Swerve, who couldn't do anything because he was pinned down and that. So yeah, that was it was alright. It does Wardlow great to see him back. My personal opinion, though, it did kind of, for me, overshadow the injury angle they were doing with Swerve. It was kind of an afterthought almost afterwards. It was the more focus was put on Wardlow than no, Swerve's been taken out. That being said, though, how many times do we have to put Wardlow in a faction, or partner him up with somebody, or try and make him a big star and it not working out? Because this is, the 4th, 5th time now, and it's just never worked. And that's nothing against Wardlow as a person, it's more just there was just never something clicked with him. Afterwards, we got Timeless Toni Storm versus Athena for the AEW Women's Championship, with Athena cashing in her Casino Gauntlet contract. Going into this match, Toni has had probably best a year possible. She's had the Hollywood ending match at Revolution against formerly known as Mariah May, Blake Monroe in NXT. and then also had a really good match against Mercedes Moné at All In. So I'm glad to say this match is another great match to add to that list. Tony is on a great run of matches this year and should be really praised for her accomplishments this year. That's not to say Athena did not slouch in this match. She is amazing and is clearly why she has been Ring of Honor champion for so long. And obviously just the crowd are into it. Athena's a great heel. Tony's always as over as it will always be, and everything. And it was just a fun match. And I was really expecting Athena to win here because I thought it was time for her to. It's not nice to say about Ring of Honor, but move up from the almost developmental of AEW to the main roster and win the Women's World Championship. But no, timeless Toni Storm retained and is still your women's champion. But that's still nothing to go against the match. It's a very fun match. The crowd loved it. In our main event of the evening, because the multi-man match, which I'll get onto in a bit, is not sanctioned and it doesn't count as part of the show. In our main event is Hangman Adam Page versus MJF for the AEW World Championship. It's no surprise at this point that these two, whenever they work together, always bring out the best in each other and always put on a stormer. Obviously going into the match, tensions were high because obviously Hangman had tricked MJF into using his casino gauntlet, and then obviously on the go home, MJF attempted to murder or at least set on fire Mark Briscoe and said that he didn't have to use his contract, but also most importantly, Hangman could lose the belt either by count out or disqualification, and that's how Max would win. Now that will come in play later when I get to my issue with the match, but for the match itself, very fun, great match. No surprise, this lives up to everything they've done before and will continue to do, because it's clear that this isn't over for the two of them, as MJF still has his casino gauntlet contract and probably will be the one to dethrone Hangman later down the line. And the crowd was insane for this match, especially when Hangman came out. Everyone was cheering for him. He is very much the main character of AEW. Now to come to my problem with the match. The stipulation I loved. I loved the idea. Anytime in wrestling they add like, oh, the heel puts the caveat of you can lose the championship via count out or disqualification, it always adds that extra layer to it. So why didn't Hangman lose the belt in this match? Because at one point, a very good moment, I'm not having a go at the moment, it's just the logic behind it and how AEW kind of went back on themselves. Hangman hit Max with a dead eye through a table. Great moment, very cool, but shouldn't that count as a disqualification because he used a foreign object against his opponent? He put Max through a table. Shouldn't Max really be the champion at this point now? But nevertheless, that's just glossed over. Now that for me, then leads into the finish of the match, which really had a issue with because it kind of dampened it. The finish was a bit muddled. You had MJF get the visual pin, and with the ref actually counting to 3, but Hangman's foot was on the ropes that the ref was knocked out and didn't see. Then Mark Briscoe came down to distract Max, and then the ref woke up and saw Hangman's foot on the ropes as Max was moving it and called it off, and then we got Hangman using the contract behind the ref's back, hitting Max and then hitting the buckshot. Now, the use of the contract is fine and would feel more impactful, I feel like, if we didn't have the table spot, because it's, Hangman used a weapon to get the win, even though the stipulation said he couldn't because it would be a disqualification and he would lose. So whereas everyone's like, oh my god, he's just done that, for me it was, but he's already done something with a legal object, so it did dampen the ending for me and does leave a tiny little bit of a rain cloud over. Otherwise than that, fantastic match, loved it, they're great as always, and Hangman Adam Page is still your world champion. Finally, we get to the unofficial main event of the night, because obviously AEW doesn't sanction any lights out matches. It's after the show by their logic. So it's Darby Allin and Will Ospreay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus Gabe Kidd, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks. This, how can I put it? When Darby Allin is the most healthy and most healthy and the best out of you all on your team, that says something, because going into this match, Will's got a bad neck that he's possibly going to go and get surgery for, which we'll get into at the end of the match, because that gets to it. Hiroshi Tanahashi's knees are shot, and obviously he's on his retirement tour this year, but as throughout the match there's several times that you can tell he can't move as easily because of his knees. Kenny obviously had diverticulitis and has had part of his intestine removed, so he's not perfect. Kota Ibushi had a severe injury and surgery, and he isn't as near as good as he was. I say near as good. He's nowhere near as at the level he was prior to it. So when Darby is the most healthiest and capable in the match, that says something. That being said though, this match was just fun. It was a very safe match considering the stipulation being a lights out steel cage match. Obviously lots of blood, lots of weapon spots, but nothing too dangerous. It was a lot of fun. Everyone had fun, with especially the Young Bucks, with how continuing the whole entrance idea of them getting the wrong song. This time it was Bop, which the crowd loved, including Kenny and Will, who both danced and sung along to it, and the fact that they asked the production guy not to bollocks their music up and to find the most deadliest weapons in London, which turns out to be gummy bears, which was a good laugh. Yeah, it's what do you expect from like any of these sort of Anarchy in the Arena Stadium Stampede matches? It's everyone partners off, loads of weapon spots, too many to count. You've got a very gruesome spot of Darby being duct taped to a chair and Jon Moxley basically stabbing him in the ear several times with a fork, bleeding everywhere, which is really weird because Mox was very late in the match to get busted open. which I found weird. Will, even with his bad neck, and obviously it's clear that he's got to go to either get surgery or at least go away for a bit of time, didn't show any signs of it, which makes it even worse when you consider there's a spot later in the match where Tanahashi tries to climb a ladder to like jump off, and the rest of his team says, no, you can't do this, climb down. So Will climbs to the top of the cage and does a moonsault, but luckily everyone was there to catch him and make sure he was fine landing. But yeah, it's one of those things, you get all these high spots. The other one was on the outside, Maria Shafir and Wheeler Yuta had stacked 4 tables up on each other, and Darby and Gabe Kidd went crashing through them, which was very fun and got a big pop out of the crowd. And then the end of the match saw, I want to say, Matt Jackson take all the finishes, and with Tanahashi climbing the top rope, hitting a very heavy splash for the win. And it was fun, and it was great for me because I've never seen Tanahashi wrestle. Obviously, it's one of these matches that is going to be a multi-man, and it's not as impactful as if it was Tanahashi having a singles match, but at this point he can't go at the level he used to, so it's great just to be able to say I saw him. Afterwards the match, Will got the whole send off and all that. Speaking of which, he got the Bryan Danielson treatment before his entrance with a big video package with loved ones talking about him and all that. So you knew this was going to be him going away, and that carried on with the Death Riders locking everyone out and Pillmanizing Will with a chair, whilst all his teammates and the ops that came down trying to get in the cage and save him but couldn't, leading to the Death Riders escaping, and pretty much the end of the show was just Will laying there in the ring with everyone like trying to help him and that, and him getting stretchered away, because after the show went off air he went on for another good 10 minutes before he left the arena on the stretcher. That being said though, great match, fun show. In conclusion, AEW Forbidden Door 2025 overall was a great show, very fun. There wasn't a single match on the card that was a letdown or anything. All of them delivered as much as they promised. Obviously it was disappointing that there was that botch at the end of the tag match, but besides that, and obviously my few like little nitpicks and issues that I've gone through, solid show, great show. And being in the O2 Arena in London was fantastic. There was just, being there in person to see it all, there is that element of just aura that the crowd just brings, and it is incredible, and it's unbelievable to feel the energy, which really translated in how the guys wrestled, because they were feeding off the crowd several times. Overall, very great show. Do very much recommend checking it out. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.